Good evening and welcome to WBS Prime News Live, this 11th day of March, the year 2015. First, let's take a look at what's making headlines. End of quality reporting. Speaker of Parliament orders senior scribes who have reported from Parliament for more than 5 years to leave.
In spite of those achievements, is still horrendous. The condition of women is still very bad.
FDC launches a campaign to save women as a new report reveals that 19 pregnant women die every day in Uganda.
Cannot well guarantee the quality of water in these springs, and I think our last assessment showed if not all of them were actually contaminated.
KCCA launches a sanitation week to put emphasis on general cleanliness, starting right from people's homes. This as the typhoid becomes a menace.
Handing over the mantle and then running away, taking off. No, we're going to work hand in hand, and I'll guide Maxime.
National motocross team captain Arthur Blake Jr. hands over captaincy to young Maxim Fee. Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. It is WBS Prime News Live. Now the news in detail. I'm Mildred Tohaise. Starting on a third note, 19% of every 1,000 pregnant women die daily of needless death while giving birth in Ugandan hospitals, as they also continue to suffer and toil 16 hours a day in tough chores. The FDC Women's League has today launched the Donate Uganda shillings 6,200 Save a Mother's Life campaign that will help reduce the maternal mortality rates in Uganda. Aaron Mack attended the launch of this drive that was held at the FDC headquarters in Najanankumbi. Now reports.
Health Information Systems report on the rate of the rising maternal mortalities in 2014 indicated a rise from 16% to 19% of death of women every day, and 435 women of the 100,000 women who die every day. Statistics Forum for Democratic Change Women League are using, basing on for the appalling conditions of pregnant mothers in Ugandan hospitals. Women in the league are convinced that the Uganda shillings 6,200 Save the Mother's Life campaign will go a long way to address the problem.
We've looked for all ways, and as FDC we've opted for very little money, that is 6,200 shillings.
And in most cases, women are chased even at a point when the baby is about to come out, just because of the mama kit.
In a just society, Forum for Democratic Change President Mugisha Muntu says, undermining women's rights and health would not only affect them, but the productivity of the country, and this to him will not sit back to watch 19 women dying every day.
Even when one woman is saved, that is an impact in itself. So we are trying to mobilize donations through this campaign to ensure that we distribute as many kits as we can.
Former Forum for Democratic Change President, retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye, believes the mothers in this country are dying of needless death due to negligence of the government, and the situation remains horrendous.
The condition of women in Uganda, in spite of those achievements, is still horrendous. The condition of women is still very bad. We are talking about the women that die in childbirth.
With the imagery that you scratch where it itches, Besigye urged women to continue fighting for their rights and pledged to join their campaign to raise funds to support pregnant mothers.
To join them in their campaign, whatever campaign they are undertaking. If it's a charity walk, I will join them and raise funds.
Besigye, a professional medical doctor, said if it was not intentional by the government to cause women to suffer, science has developed to an extent that you can monitor pregnancies to prevent death.
I, as a professional doctor, I know that there is no reason whatsoever why childbirth should be a source of death. Because science has developed to an extent that pregnancy can be monitored very effectively to know what is happening in detail and to intervene whenever you think it is necessary to intervene.
It's also evident that women constitute 80% food production, but only 7% of the women own land in this country.
Now, with the sobering conditions of women in Uganda, we believe that the 6,200 FDC Women League campaign would also add a value to the fight against the mortality rates in this country. For WBS, I'm Alan's Mark Tabaruka in Najja Nkumbi.
Now, Parliament has written to all media houses in the country to replace all the journalists who have reported from the House for more than 5 years, with the 1st May set as the deadline for the changes. In a letter signed by the clerk to Parliament, the media houses are instructed to send fresh names to replace the old guards, a move that got a hostile reception among members of the Uganda parliamentary press. The journalists, however, got an ally in Information Minister designate retired Major General Jim Muhwezi, but lost one out, a senior veteran journalist and now the leader of the opposition, Wafula Ogutu. Now, in our other studio, Joseph Sabiti and Timothy Sibasi are all set to give us the details and the nitty-gritty containing which journalists are to be out and when exactly this should be done. Over to you now, Joseph Sabiti.
All right, thank you very much, Mildred, for that elaborate introduction. We are facing a very important circumstance in the life of journalists in this country. The clerk to Parliament, in a letter dated 9th of March 2015, wrote to all editors in all the media houses in the country, instructing that by 1st May, all journalists who have covered the House for more than 5 years have to give way to young blood in order to come. And they say it is based on their assumption that journalists who have stayed longer in Parliament actually end up biased and not giving a proper reporting on day-to-day proceedings in the House. One of those affected is my senior colleague, Timothy Sibasi, our senior political reporter. He joins me live in studio this evening to talk over that very issue. Good evening, Tim.
Yes, good evening. How are you?
I'm okay. How did you receive that news? Apparently, as we speak right now, by 1st May, you're a persona non grata at Parliament.
Well, I'm happy for whichever decision that has taken place. But we can't go without making a few comments to what this decision is going to make to the media industry of this country. You know, the media industry has come a long way in Uganda. Now, when you still have such people in Parliament, I could understand if the Speaker of Parliament was a student of social works and social administration. But such a decision coming from a land speaker, a lawyer, it leaves a lot to be desired.
Okay. The developments that came in today, when the news became public, when the letter was circulated to the media houses, the first step a journalist took was to visit the leader of the opposition in Parliament. You will recall that Philip Wafula Ogutu is a senior journalist in this country. He sits on the commission and he's the leader of the opposition. And so the journalist went to find out what his view was on this matter. He made it clear that, yes, I was not party to the proceedings that came up with this document, but I am in support of it. He made mention of the fact that you can't keep a journalist in one place for 5 years. You know, he ends up not being productive. He also made mention of apparently journalists who have ended up falling in love with MPs and producing children, and they're busy actually engaged in relationships instead of journalistic work. What do you make of that?
Well, this is also very unfortunate to hear a person like Wafula Ogutu also being part of such a decision. You know, many people have called Wafula Ogutu a senior journalist, veteran journalist. But for me, I don't praise that guy in the list of senior journalists who have got this country a long way. I don't cluster him there. Besides being one of the guys who started the Daily Monitor. I've been reading some of his articles. I'm so sick.
Okay.
I'm so sick. So, Wafula making such a kind of a decision, joining the speaker, that really journalists should go out, have spent 5 years reporting. He's one of, I don't want to use.
Okay, okay. Let's get away from that. Yes.
I don't know how I can describe Wafula Ogutu.
Yeah, because in principle, very many people believe he played a big mentoring role at the Daily Monitor. For example, the likes of Andrew Mwenda, Peter Mwesije, Semu Junganda, mentioned them. They were students of Wafula Ogutu, so they respect him for the role he played as a media manager at Monitor. But away from that, the journalists got an ally in Minister of Information designate, retired Major General Jim Muhwezi. He says his opinion is that issue should be left to the different media houses to manage.
That's what I expect. That's what I would expect from the Speaker of Parliament. But now that his fellow is proving her wrong, and to make the matter worse, you have an entire directorate of communication at Parliament, which is comprised by journalists. But it's very unfortunate that most of them inside there have not practiced, starting from the so-called director of communications at Parliament, down to these young boys who were radio reporters and so on and so forth. None of them has had serious hands-on. None of them has practiced. So at a certain point, we need to forgive them. They are there to protect their bread, but in the hearts of their hearts, I know they know that what the speaker's ruling is wrong.
Okay. Tim, let's really wrap this up. The Uganda Parliamentary Press Association, UPPA, has called for a meeting tomorrow morning to forge on a way forward. And very many people are talking about the possibility of solidarity in fighting all this, and as well as some people say the MasterCard lies with the editors, who will either have to agree with the speaker or defy that. What is the way forward, in your opinion, as we wrap up this discussion?
Well, even before we bring in the editors, as journalists, we need to fight for our space. Kadaga contributed nothing to the media freedom, and we should not allow him. Some of our fathers, some of our people that we cherish, shedded blood for the freedom that the media enjoy today. So we can't. The decision of Kadaga and his other colleagues, they are behaving like a dumb politician who want to rig elections in his own country. So, from a lawyer, from a decision coming from a lawyer like her, Sabiti,
all right. Thank you very much, Timothy Sebastian. Thank you very much, our viewers, this evening for joining us. Remember, the members of the Uganda Parliamentary Press Association meet tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. to forge a way forward, and as well, we shall be updating you on the latest developments. So what we can tell you right now is that 1st May is the deadline to stop all journalists who have practiced for more than 5 years from reporting from Parliament. I hand you back to Mildred Tuhaise in Studio A.
And well, thank you very much, Timothy Sibarsi and Joseph Sabiti. Right there, we'll keep you updated on what transpires in Parliament in regard to having some of the senior journalists out of the August House. In more news now, heading to health issues, KCCA has scheduled a sanitation week starting 12th to 19th of this month, which will put emphasis on general cleanliness starting right from the people's homes. The authority also intends to work on sanitation of pit latrines, which they intend to empty, especially those that they will find full and those that need to be renovated.
So we also have the Kampala Water and Sanitation Forum. This is a forum which brings together actors in the water and sanitation field in Kampala, and we plan for activities for the city as regards water and sanitation matters.
In spite of this plan, Dr. Okelo says the acute typhoid that has left 560 lives bedridden over the last 2 weeks in Kampala is associated with having been taking contaminated spring and borehole water. He said that spring and borehole water are not recommended water resources for consumption. The tests carried out so far reveal that typhoid epidemic menace that has hit Kampala irreversibly is due to the consumption of springs and borehole water.
I need to guarantee the quality of water in these springs, and I think our last assessment showed if not all of them were actually contaminated, because again the water tables tend to be high. So would I advise anybody to get water from the springs in Kampala? No.
However, Dr. Kelo says the origin of typhoid is water, but most people who have been diagnosed and found suffering from the epidemic acquired it from their workplaces.
The biggest threat is the threat to your health. It's a finite space. Once it fills, you need to empty. One is the discomfort of the water, but two is the risk of transmission of diseases.
KCC with Kampala Water Sanitation Forum is also going to mark the National Water Day on the 19th of this month at Nsambya Gogonya Stadium. The authority has given the Sanitation Week a theme that says an improved toilet is a family's pride.
To education issues now, the students of Kyambogo University alleged to have been the masterminders of the foiled violence have finally been released by police. Gilbert Mugabe and Christina Kole, both belonging to the FDC Kyambogo University chapter, were whisked away by police following reports that they had stabbed their fellow student using a knife, a fact they denied, and in their recorded statements, it is to the police. In their recorded statements, they accuse one Moses Sekaja from the NRM Kyambogo chapter to have stabbed the student. Sekaja is still in custody, helping police in the investigations.
This morning, rowdy students from Kyambogo University stormed Ginger Road Police Station, demanding for the release of their fellow students who had been in police cells for 2 days now. During the protest, the students kept on sounding bitter, vowing to cause chaos at Ginger Road Police Station should the officers in charge decline to heed to their call of having their colleagues released.
Our boy to be released, Mugabe Gilbert, was released on an allegation that he mentioned that NRM camp in Kyambogo stabbed the boy almost to death. The boy is in hospital in Zambia who stabbed NRM Moses Sekaja stabbed our boy called Mwambe Hamid. So we are kindly here requesting the police to release him with immediate effect.
When we try to consult when we come here to consult what is taking place, they tell us you just go. The case has been transferred to Kyambogo. When we reach there, they say that the case is still pending, doing like that. When we come here to see him, they don't want to give him to us to see him.
On arrival at the police station, the DPC Ginger Road Police Station was quick to negotiate a win-win situation with the angry students to have their fellow students released.
There are some students who have committed criminal offenses, and any person or student who commits an offense, we shall treat him like any other Ugandan. There's no person who has got a license that because I'm a student or it's election time that they have the capacity to bring insecurity in the campus.
At 2 p.m., a decision was reached and the jailed students were released from the cells. The earlier suspects from the FDC Kyambogo chapter, Christine Akol and Gilbert Mugabe, were seen jubilating. The duo thanked fellow students for their determination and spirit they had showed up for standing by their side to have them released.
I was on the border, rushing for my lectures. That's when the police, just from nowhere, tear gassed me straight into my eyes with a whole spray into my eyes and in my nose, straight in my nose. So I was affected with the tear gas in my eyes.
I would like first of all to apologize on behalf of all students in Kyambogo University after this release of the letter reading malicious information against FDC that was written by me. It's not true, and it wasn't me, and it can't be me. And I ideally say sorry for everyone that got hurt about this message.
We now take a short break and return with more stories.
Load the airtime knowing it's easy. You get it all back with Chizzy. All the airtime you spend, Chizzy. At the end of the month, Chicho, Chizzy.
1K, 2K, 5K,
Chizzy.
10K, 20K, 30K.
Chizzy.
Airtime you spend is refunded. Talk and talk with Chizzy.
Chicho, Chicho, Chicho.
Uganda Telecom's got something.
Get back your airtime with Chizzy from Uganda Telecom. Dial *100# select Chizzy and get the total amount you spend in a month refunded. This refund can be used for calls and SMSs to all networks for the next 30 days from Uganda's most affordable telecom service. Uganda Telecom. It's all about you.
Introducing Yuga Chick Super. Chicken pieces that are individually quick frozen and easier to prepare. Yuga Chick Super has been packaged conveniently for your family. Buy Yuga Chick Super from a supermarket near you.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now with more news, the Uganda People's Defense Forces, the U.S. military and other forces from other partnering nations are taking a military training code named Eastern Accord 1 in Uganda, Eastern Accord 15 in Uganda from March 1st to 14th, 2015. Approximately 320 military personnel from regional member states of Uganda, Kenya, Burundi, Djibouti, Rwanda and Tanzania will convene to enhance capability to plan and employ forces to effectively counter violence and extremist organizations, as well as enhancing cooperation and coordination among the participating members.
Be in touch with our command, U.S. AFRICOM, as well as U.S. Army Africa and our sister components. You know, we continue to be focused on developing trust, confidence, and developing relationships on the continent.
All these militaries have different experiences and they've been going through this. So when we come here, you're not starting from scratch. You are sharing experiences of how to deal with violent extremist organizations or terrorism, how to respond to humanitarian crises, how to help the civil authorities and deal with such situations and also crime.
We now take
low fuel consumption. It's the ultimate workhorse that offers value for money. So pay us a visit today. Spear Motors Limited, plot M428 Nakawa Ginger Road.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. In sports, after diligently serving for 12 years as the national motocross team captain, Arthur Bleek Jr. hands over captaincy to youngster Maxime Van P. Van P will effectively take on the role during the Regional East and Central African Motocross Championships, said to have its first round held in April in Kampala.
Having served as the national team captain for 12 years, Arthur Bleek Jr. believes it's that time he left and concentrated on both active motor rallying and riding.
it's quite a lot of work. When I'm also racing, I'll still be racing this year, but I'm not handing over the mantle and then running away, taking off. No, we're going to work hand in hand, and I'll guide Maxime wherever he needs guidance, because we are looking at long term. We are looking at what's best for the sport.
Briggs stressed the need to build capacity amongst the riders. He explained that he needs to concentrate on competition, as he's targeting 3 titles, including the National Motor Rallying Championship, Motocross and Enduro. After receiving the flag, Maxime Van P promised an exemplary leadership, as his predecessor has been doing.
I can only say how happy we were to have him as a captain. He always managed to keep the team together whenever we went to Kenya, Zambia, or other international events. So for me, it's a big part from my side. I have a big role to play after taking over from Arthur, but I feel like I'm ready. I'm ready for this.
Believes that it's about time, and this is the perfect situation where Maxime has proved himself. He's proved himself. He won the 85cc championship. He started in the 85cc class.
Maxime's first task is helping Uganda defend the regional motocross championship title this year, which the Pearl of Africa won last year. With the second national motocross run set to be held on 22nd March 2015 at the newly designed Galuga racetrack, March is anticipated.
I wouldn't want us to sponsor haphazardly some of them, but I would expect to fully put in what is expected in the fight and really pull off the very good event as opposed to putting on a manner.
Title sponsors Mountain Dew have sunk in 1 billion shillings for the 5 events out of the 8 to be held this year. Frank Serugo, WSTV, Kampala.
Now we'll take a very short break. When we return, it will be a wrap-up of tonight's news.
My name is Musa, your travel agent. I'm taking you around Africa, our motherland, a land gifted with beauty that flows right from Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Our first destination will be Rwanda, a land of hills and beautiful ladies. Then Tanzania, the home to the great Kilimanjaro mountain. And Kenya, the Masai Mara home. If I may ask, anyone with more exciting sights?
Movitable jelly and Movitable soap.
That shows her love for quality African-made products. In fact, I move with Movit Herbal Jelly too.
My friends and I at Compass all use Movit Herbal products. As in, I even carried mine.
To have a good service, I first bathe with Movit Herbal soap.
You see, I gave the right answer. Even at home, we use Movit Herbal Gel and Movit Herbal soap. Me too.
Movit. All day confidence.
News Summary is brought to you by
Everybody use Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is amazing. Bring moms and Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is the best. Movit, all the confidence.
End of quality reporting. As Speaker of Parliament orders senior scribes who have reported from Parliament for more than 5 years to leave. FDC launched campaign to save women as new report reveals that 19 pregnant women die every day. KCCA launches Sanitation Week to put emphasis on general cleanliness starting right from people's homes.
News Summary is brought to you by
Everybody use Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is amazing. Bring moms and Movit Herbal Jelly. Movit is the best. Movit, all the confidence.
Thank you very much for being a wonderful audience. That's all we had time for. Up next is Straight Talk Africa.
The following program is rated PG. Parental guidance is advised.
National deadline on March 5th. Observers insist the two principals must set aside their differences and end the conflict. That's coming up next right here on Straight Talk Africa. Hello, welcome to Straight Talk Africa. It's Wednesday, March 11th. I am Shaka Sali.
And hello, Shaka, and hello to all our viewers and listeners on the continent and elsewhere. I'm Mariama Diallo, your social media reporter.
Today, we'll talk about the implications of the stalled South Sudan peace talks in the Ethiopian capital of Addis Ababa.
We have a lot to delve into on today's program. Coming up later in our STA inbox, we'll share some thoughts from our audience who sent in emails, Facebook, and Twitter comments. We'll reveal some of them ahead on Straight Talk Africa.
But first, the people of South Sudan continue to suffer greatly due to the ongoing political turmoil and violence brought about